Okay. So W1 was one of the external inputs. E1 was the another internal input signal, output signal. This is another E2 is another output signal, and W2 is the another external input. Okay. So what is Morgan theorem? If delta of S and M of S are stable, and M of S are stable, then the closed loop system, is internally stable, if and only if the norm of infinite norm of M of S delta of S is less than 1. Okay, that's what we discussed. That is what we discussed yesterday. Okay, and by the norm property, we can write norm of infinite norm of M of S into infinite norm of delta of S must be less than 1, which implies how much is the perturbation that we can tolerate? It should be less than 1 by the infinite norm of the nominal plant. Okay, so this is what the small gain theorem states, right? So minimize the infinite norm. If you want to tolerate as much as perturbation possible, then we need to minimize the infinite norm of the nominal plant. Okay. Now let us consider the different perturbations and see what are the different robust stabilization conditions based on this theorem. Robust stabilization conditions. So let us first consider additive perturbation. Additive perturbation. Okay. So we are now considering a closed loop system. Okay, wherein the plant has an additive perturbation. Okay. So this is our nominal controller K. K is the controller. Okay. Then here we have our nominal plant, and that is G naught of S. This is G naught of S. Right. Additive perturbation means what? There should be a delta of S like here. Okay, and this will be our perturbed plant. GP of S, if you remember. Yeah. So this is our output Y. This is negative feedback at a unity gain path. Okay. So we need to see how much perturbations can be tolerated by this system. Okay. What is K of S? K of S is the controller. G naught of S is the nominal plant. Delta of S is the perturbation associated with the nominal plant. And this is the perturbed plant. GP of S is the perturbed plant. Okay. So how to do this first? We have to bring in this LFT form. Okay, delta of S, M of S form we have to bring. Okay, so what we have to do? We need to first separate out the delta of S block. Okay, we have to cut the delta of S block. So that means what? So let me read all this again here. Huh? So this is the controller K of S. Then this is G naught of S. This is the summing block plus. Okay, and here is our delta of S plus. This is Y, and here is our unity feedback plus minus. Okay, so what is Z here? If you remember from LFT block, what is Z? What is Z? Z is the what? What is Z?
Input to delta of S.
Input to delta of S.
Come on, what is Z?
Input to delta of S.
Okay. What is Z? Z is the input to the perturbation block. Okay, so this is my Z signal, right? And what is W? W is the signal coming out from where? From the perturbation block. So this point is W. So now you cut open the delta of S block, the perturbation. So what will you get? It will be something like this. So here we have summing point. This is our K of S, the controller. This is our nominal plant, G naught of S. Again, this will be the summing point, and here we have Y. Plus minus. Okay, so this signal is Z, and this signal is W. Okay, what is our aim? Our aim is to represent it in this form. The nominal plant see, we must have a representation of this kind. Delta of S, this is the nominal plant, M of S. Okay, and this M of S includes the nominal plant as well as the controller. Okay, this M of S represents the nominal plant as well as controller. So you see here, there's a controller, there's a nominal plant. So we need to represent this entire configuration into this equivalent LFT. Okay, then only you can apply small gain theorem, right? Keep in mind, small gain theorem needs a block of this kind, a separate delta block and the nominal plant plus controller as another separate block. Okay, so our aim is to reduce the given block diagram of this kind, which is having additive perturbation, into a two-block configuration like this, as shown here. Okay. So how can we represent that? Tell me. How can we represent this? So did you forget LFT? Okay. So this can be redrawn like this. So this is my Z. Okay. Yeah. Is anyone wants to say something? Okay. So this is our input signal R, right? This is R and this is Y, right? So now we need to see. So this is actually Z and this is Y. Z and W. Okay, input to the perturbation block is Z and output to the perturbation from the perturbation block is W. So that means we need to represent this figure in which W, or in which Z is the input signal and W is the output signal. Okay, so we have to redraw this given figure like this. So you see, when you're considering W and Z, your R and Y you can consider it to be 0. Okay, because it's a linear system, right? So I can redraw it like this. So R is 0 here. So I need not draw that. This is minus sign. Here is my K of S. Okay. And then here is the G naught of S, the nominal plant. Okay. And this is my W. Other things will remain the same. Is this clear how I drew this? This is actually multi-input. There are 2 inputs and 2 outputs. Okay. So when you want to find, see, if you take the transfer function, okay, if you take the transfer function Z by W, what will you get? You will see what is the perturbation seen by the block M of S. Okay, because Z is the output from the nominal plant and the controller M of S block, and W is the input. Okay, so the question is, what is the perturbation seen by M of S block? What is M of S? M of S here includes the nominal plant G naught and the controller K. Okay, or in other words, you are trying to find what is this M of S. Okay, so this is our Z from the output of this K block, right? So this can be again redrawn like this. So now W should be the input. I am redrawing it like this. This is my W. This is plus, right? Then what should be this block K? Let me draw this thing and tell me whether I am right or wrong. What's the mistake here? What's the mistake here?
Minus K.
What's the mistake here? Here signal is coming to negative feedback. Okay, so K, instead of K, it should be minus K. Okay, minus K of S, G naught of S. Okay, so what will be Z by W? What's the transfer function Z by W? That will be the nominal, planned, and the controller model. Okay, what will be that? Tell me. Minus K of S divided by 1 plus K of S G naught of S. Okay, minus A of S divided by 1 plus K of S G naught of S. Right? So now the entire thing can be redrawn as the 2-block configuration. So this is my delta of S. And this is M of S. Okay, this is Z and this is W. Right? So now, what is M of S? M of S is this thing. What is small gain theorem? It states that the maximum perturbation that you can tolerate will be or should be less than 1 divided by the infinite norm of the nominal planned model. Okay, so what will you get from here? By small gain theorem, for stable delta of S, the closed loop system is robustly stable if K of S stabilizes the nominal plant and what's the condition? Delta of S, M of S, infinity norm should be less than 1. Okay, so what is M of S? We had found M of S is this thing, minus K of S divided by 1 plus Ks G naught of S. Okay, so that is infinite norm of delta of S should be less than 1 divided by infinity norm of the nominal plant. That is delta of S infinity should be less than what? 1 divided by what? So this, when you take the infinite norm, there is no need to consider the minus sign. It will become a positive value. Okay, so I can write this as K of S into what? If it's a MIMO system, it becomes, instead of 1, I can write I. So I plus K S G naught of S inverse. Okay, I can write like this, the same thing. Okay, so here I can write this must be what? 1 divided by the infinity norm of K of S into I plus K of S G naught of S inverse infinity norm. Okay, this is clear. So for this system to tolerate maximum perturbation, then what's the condition? Its infinite norm should be less than 1 divided by infinite norm of K of S, I plus K of S G naught inverse infinity norm. Is this fine?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let us take the next perturbation, inverse additive perturbation. So this is again a feedback, the controller K of S. This is the nominal plant. This is the output Y. And here is our perturbation delta of S. Plus minus. Okay, this is the unity negative feedback. R plus minus, this is Y. Yeah, so this is our perturbed plant GP of S. GP of S. So find the stabilizing condition. What should be this? Find. How will you do this? What's the first step? Sai Lakshmi, what's the first step? Sai Lakshmi,
Sir,
Sai Lakshmi.
sir,
Oh, sorry, I was not hearing you guys. Okay, my setting was different, bit different. Oh, sorry. Yeah, is there any question here? Actually, I could not hear you because my setting there is a difference actually. Yeah, tell me. Sai Lakshmi?
yes, sir.
Yeah, now you are audible. Yes, yes. What's the first step?
Sir, we need to split that
Yes, you have to
system.
first identify what is your Z and W. Okay, what is Z? Z is this point, and this is W. Then what you have to do? You have to cut open. Okay, you have to cut right and remove the perturbation block. Okay, so that's the
Yes.
next step. So here is our summing point. This is our K of S. This is this thing, is G naught of S. So this signal is W, this signal is Z, this is Y, this is -1. Okay. Now what you have to do? You have to consider, you have to redraw this in such a way that, see, our two block format is like this: delta of S and the nominal plant M of S, like this way. Okay, so this is Z and this is W. So our basic purpose is to represent the rest of this thing. Rest of this thing means here is our delta block. This is our delta block. Okay, don't forget that. Except delta block, everything else must be represented in one single nominal block format. Okay, so we have to redraw this thing in such a way that we get W as the input to the M of S and Z is the output from the M of S block. Such a way we need to represent, because you see, Z from output Z from the M of S block is the input to the delta of S block. Similarly, output W from the delta of S block is the input to the M of S block. Okay, so we need to ignore the Z, R and Y and rearrange it in such a way that our W is the input to M of S and Z is the output. Okay, so this is the summing point. Here is our K of S. Then this is the summing point again. Here we have W. This is minus sign over here, right? Yeah, this minus sign is here. Minus sign, correct. Then we have our G naught of S. And here is Z. Minus. Okay. What next? Now we have to redraw it in such a way that W is the input to the input to this thing. So here is our summing point. This is our G naught, the nominal plant. Then this is Z. So here is our minus K. Why minus K? Because you see the input to the K block is at negative feedback. Okay, so that negativity I am incorporating within the block, minus K. Minus K means K of S. Okay, so now the input is W and the output is Z. So what is Z by W? Or rather minus Z by W? Anyhow you can take. What will you get? Tell me, what will you get?
G naught divided
G naught divided by
1 plus
1 plus G naught K.
this.
Correct? G naught divided by 1 plus G naught K. Okay. Is it G naught or minus G naught?
G naught.
What is the polarity at which W is entering this into the system?
Minus G naught.
Minus G naught. Okay. So Z by W will be minus G naught divided by 1 plus G naught K. Is that clear? So this is your nominal plant plus controller. Okay. So now what did we do? We represented this system as delta in LFT form. In upper LFT form, to be more specific. Okay. So this was our Z and this was our W. Right? So as per small gain theorem, what's the condition? Infinite norm of delta of S and the nominal plant must be less than 1, or how much perturbation can be tolerated? Infinite norm, which is less than 1 divided by what? Infinite norm of the nominal plant. Okay. So how can we represent this thing? This can be written like this: G naught into I plus G naught K inverse. Okay. Why we are ignoring the minus sign? Because norm, when you take norm, it's a positive value, absolute value only. If you remember the norm definition, when you find out the norm value, you will get only the positive value. Okay. So that means the infinite norm of this should be less than what? Should be less than 1 divided by norm of G naught into what? I plus G naught K inverse. Okay. Is that fine? Let us try another example. Input multiplicative perturbation.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, in all the above cases, we are considering only one input, right? Like W1.
See, you are not taking it in a point. W is not one input, single input. W is a vector. W is scalar. This is vector.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So W includes, W means exogenous inputs. There may be some noise. Noise is unwanted signal. There can be disturbance, which is another unwanted signal. There can be command signal R, which is the reference on the command signal. All these things are grouped as W.
But in the standard representation, we had W1 and W2, sir. So
Yeah, W1 and W2 just means two group of inputs. W1, it is W1 bar, not a single W. See, W1 bar and W2 bar.
okay, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
Bar always means it is a vector.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So next is inverse input multiplicative perturbation. Input multiplicative perturbation. So this is a summing point. We have a controller K. Here is the perturbation block. Plus since the nominal plant G naught of S. Okay, this is the output signal Y. This is unity feedback. Plus minus R. So which is the perturbed plant? Perturbed plant means this thing, the entire thing, which includes the nominal model plus the perturbation GP of S. Okay, find what should be, how much should be the infinite norm of delta of S. Find. Srinivasan, how will you start with? Louder.
We identify input and output.
You have to identify the input and output signals to the perturbation block. This is Z and this is W. Try doing that. See whether you got an expression of this kind. That infinite norm should be less than 1 divided by infinite norm of K G naught into I plus K G naught inverse. Check whether you got this thing. Did you get this? Surya Sharma.
Doing, sir.
Yes, sir. We are getting this.
Try another question. Did everyone get this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let us try another question. Note down this. Consider the system shown below. Consider the system shown below, where PL of S equals 1 plus. Is someone saying something? No. Okay. 1 plus delta of S into P of S with P of S equals 1 divided by S minus 1. Okay. So this is the block diagram given. K of S, and here is our PL of S. Plus minus R and Y. Okay. If K of S is a pure gain, if K of S is a pure gain, that means a proportional controller. Okay. Pure gain K, and perturbation delta of S, and perturbation delta of S is stable and satisfies infinite norm less than or equal to 2. Determine the range of K. Determine the range of K for which the closed loop system is stable for all such perturbations. Yeah. Okay. Consider the system shown below, where PL of S equal to 1 plus delta of S to P of S. So this represents the perturbed plant. PL of S is a perturbed plant. Okay. What's the nominal plant model? 1 by S minus 1. So if K of S is a pure gain K and perturbation delta of S is stable and satisfies infinite norm less than or equal to 2, determine the range of K for which the closed system is stable for all such perturbations. How will you do this? Tell me. Give some idea how to solve this.
We separate delta from the
You have to separate delta from the remaining part of the block diagram. Okay. So let me redraw this thing. So what will you get? This is our R plus this is K of S. Okay. And what was the perturbation given? It was 1 plus delta of S into P of S. That means here is our P of S, and here is delta of S block. Okay, plus. Other things will remain the same. Minus. So where is Z and where is W? This is Z and this is W. Right? So you find out what is Z by W. Find what is Z by W. Tell me what is Z by W.
Sir?
Yes. Who is that?
Sir, I have a doubt here.
No, who is that? What's your name?
Renu Preeti, sir.
Renu. Yes, Renu. Tell me.
Sir, here we are considering the perturbation in the output. Like, why can't we consider this 1 plus delta S in the input? Because
Here is not a problem. You can take it either way around. Here, being a CISO system, there is no issue at all. Okay. But if it's a MIMO case, then you need to worry about the order of the system.
Okay, sir.
That's all. Here is a CISO plan. That's only one external input and one external output. Why?
Okay,
Renu?
Okay, sir.
Yeah. See, in class, we cannot take up MIMO case because that is beyond the scope actually, right? So concept you should understand how to tackle. Okay, Renu?
Okay, sir.
Yeah. What is Z by W? Prashant?
Yes, sir. Just a minute, sir.
Make it fast. You should be careful about the polarity of the signals, okay? It is not always positive. You should open your eyes and be careful. Google.
Doing.
Ah.
Sir, minus KP by 1 plus KP.
Minus KP by, correct. By what?
1 plus KP.
1 plus KP, correct. Minus KP by 1 plus KP. Okay. But what is P? P is given. Where is that? 1 by S minus 1. Okay. And what is K of S? That is nothing but a simple proportional gain K. So what will be reset by W? Just substitute and tell me.
Minus K by S
Minus
minus
K by?
1 plus K.
Minus K by?
S minus 1 plus K.
S minus 1 plus K or S plus K minus 1. Correct. Tell me what is the quantity on the left hand side? What is set by W? See, you should not forget this block diagram. Okay, this is delta of S. This is our nominal plant. Okay, so what is this? Z by W. Come on, what is Z by W?
M of S.
M of S. Z by W is M of S, correct? What's the doubt in that? Okay, so this is the nominal plant plus the controller. Is that clear? Z by
Yes.
W, that is the transfer function, output to input. That is what's called transfer function, right? Ratio of Laplace times of output, Laplace times of input. Okay, so Z is the output from M of S. W is the input to M of S. So Z by W is the nominal plant M of S. Is it not? So your M of S is minus K by S plus K minus 1. Okay. Now, what do you mean by robust stability? Robust stability means your nominal plant must be stable, in addition to which the family of plants, the perturbed plants, should also be stable. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So
Yes,
that
sir.
means we got our what is the nominal plant plus the controller. Okay. We need to check what's the nominal stability. How will you check nominal stability? Tell me. How can you check nominal stability? Come on, give me some idea.
Left hand side poles.
Come again.
Left hand side poles.
Left hand side pole, correct. So what should be the condition for nominal stability? Tell me. When will you say system is stable? If the poles are in the left half of the S-plane, right? Where is the nominal plant pole here?
A should be less
Eh?
than 1. A should be
Eh?
greater than
Sorry?
gain should be greater than 1, sir.
K should be greater than 1, correct. So for nominal stability, K must be greater than 1. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So this is equation 1. Okay, now we need to check for the family of plants, right? So what's the condition for family of plants as per robust stability according to small gain theorem? Infinite norm of delta of S, and this nominal plant model must be less than 1. Okay, do you agree with me? Do you agree with me on this?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So now what's the problem? So we need to check. So you see, it means what? It means infinite norm of the perturbation into infinite norm of the nominal, this thing should be less than 1. So we have to find what is the infinite norm of M of S. Am I clear? to apply this condition as per the norm property, infinite norm of delta of s into infinite norm of m of s should be less than 1. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
So we had already found what is m of s, the transfer function, the nominal Planck model, which includes the controller. Now we need to find what is m of infinite norm of m of s. How can you find that? Tell me. What is m of s in infinite norm of m of s? What is infinite norm? The maximum value across all frequencies. Is it not? Infinite norm means the maximum value across all the frequencies, right? So we need to calculate what is the infinite norm of m of s. Okay, so for that, what is m of j omega? M of j omega will be what? Minus k divided by wherever you find s, you replace s with j omega. So minus k divided by j omega plus k minus 1. What's the magnitude? Tell me. Tell me what's the magnitude? What's the magnitude? A plus jb. What's the magnitude?
K divided by root over
K divided by root of
omega square
plus
k minus 1 the whole square.
plus k minus 1 square. Correct. Aerospace guys, are you following? Chaitanya,
Yes, sir.
are you following?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
How do we get this thing? We are finding the magnitude. Okay, if you have a number a plus jb divided by c plus jd, what is the magnitude? Root of a square plus b square divided by root of c square plus d square. Okay, so here the unit is minus k. You just need to consider the magnitude, which is k divided by root of real part square plus imaginary part square. That's what we are getting this thing. Okay,
Sir, it will be minus omega square.
which minus omega square? Why it should be minus omega square? Tell me.
J omega if we square it.
Who is that? What's your name?
Srinivasan.
Yes, Srinivasan. Come again. I didn't get you properly. Come again.
Sir, if we square j omega, we get minus omega square.
A plus jb. See, I cannot teach you vector. This is all vector thing. This is your vector point. Okay. Come on, Srinivasan. This is A, this is jb. How will you find what's the length of this vector? Srinivasan, you tell me. What's the length of the vector?
Okay, sir. Magnitude. Okay, fine, sir.
Is it clear? Srinivasan?
Yes,
We are
yes,
representing A plus jb as r angle theta. Okay, Srinivasan. Okay, Srinivasan.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we got the magnitude. Now, what's our aim? Our aim is to find infinite norm, and infinite norm means what? The maximum value. How can you find the maximum value of mod mj omega? What we have to do? Tell me. Tell me. What's the variable quantity here?
K.
Omega. If you have a function f of x, how will you find the maximum value?
df by dx.
Come on. You have to differentiate that with respect to x. D by dx of f of x. You have to find. Equal to 0. You will get the candidate points. Is it not? So same way, you have to now differentiate that. D by d omega of mod mg omega. Tell me what you are getting. You have to equate it to 0. Tell me what will you get? Make it fast, yaar. Renu Bharati, what did you get? Rajkumar Jha, are you there? Rajkumar Jha. Ranjit Chakia.
Yes, sir.
Ah,
I'm solving, sir.
What's the value? When you differentiate with respect to omega and equal to 0, what will you get?
Omega 0.
Omega equal to 0. Omega equal to 0. Okay. So what's the infinite norm of mj omega m of s?
Sir,
Ah,
we will also get omega equal to plus or minus 1 minus k.
come again.
Omega equal to plus or minus 1 minus k will also be possible.
Omega equal to
Plus or minus 1 minus k.
plus or minus
1 minus k.
1 minus k. So you put omega equal to plus or minus 1 minus k here. What will you get? Chaitanya, you are right, or Srinivasan?
Chaitanya, sir.
Chaitanya, yes, Chaitanya. How many of you got this value? Omega equal to plus or minus 1 minus k. Did anyone else get that?
Yes, sir. Like while
Why we are considering omega equal to 0? Why not plus or minus 1 minus k?
for k greater than 1, if we consider, then omega will be negative.
Yeah, we will come to that point later. My question is, you differentiated d by d, differentiated your magnitude mj omega, right? What are the candidate points that you are getting?
Omega equal to 0 and omega
Ah.
equal to plus or minus 1 minus k.
Plus or minus 1 minus k. Why we are not? Why this value is considered to be inadmissible? Why? What's the reason for that?
Frequency can't be negative.
Frequency can't be
Negative.
negative. That is one reason. Anything? Any other reason? Any other reason? When you put here omega equal to 1 minus k and find what will be the magnitude, net magnitude.
Infinity.
Infinity. Infinity? Are you sure? Omega is plus 1 minus k. So 1 minus k square plus k minus 1 square whole by k.
So we get k by square root of 2 into k minus 1.
K by square root of
2 into k minus 1.
to k minus 1.
K minus 1 will be outside the square root.
So that means k divided by k minus 1 root 2.
Yes, sir.
So which value will be higher? This one or the one which you get when you substitute omega equal to 0?
Omega equal to 0.
Omega equal to 0. That will give you the maximum value.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. See, when you find a d by dx of f of x, you are getting candidate points only, candidate solutions. Say maybe x1, x2. How will you ensure whether x1 is a maximum? How will you ensure? You should take that second derivative, d square f of x by dx square, right? Dx square, substitute that value and see if it's less than 0. Then it is a maximum value. If it's greater than 0, what is the conclusion? It is minimum value. Are you getting me what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so omega equal to 0 will give you the maximum value. So now you tell me what is the infinite norm of m of s? Put omega equal to 0 here. What will you get? K divided by k minus 1. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
So what's the infinite norm of m of s? K divided by k minus 1. Okay, that we found. Now, this is our 2-block format, delta, and this is our m. Okay, here is our x, this is Z, and this is our w. Okay, so by small gain theorem, what's the condition for robust stability? Robust stability. What's the condition? Infinite norm of delta of s and m of s must be less than 1. Okay, or infinite norm of the nominal plant should be less than 1 by infinite norm of the perturbation. Okay, now something else is given here. What is that? Satisfies infinite norm of delta of s less than or equal to 2. Okay, it is given. This condition is given here. This condition is given. Infinity norm of the perturbation should be less than or equal to 2. Okay, so that means what? It means infinite norm of m of s, the nominal plant, should be less than or equal to what? 1 by 2. Is that okay? Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Because we are given the infinite norm perturbation must be less than or equal to 2. Okay, and the perturbation appears in the denominator, so it should be less than or equal to 1 by 2. Right? So, what was the infinite norm of m of s? We found. Therefore, k by k minus 1 should be less than or equal to 1 by 2. What is the value of k from here? Tell me. What's the value of k from here, from this condition? Tell me. What's the value of K?
Less
Can
than
you
or
check
equal
Less
here?
than or
to
equal to -1.
K should be
Less than or equal to -1.
less than or equal to -1. Okay, this is equation 2. See, what was our condition 1? K should be greater than 1. Okay, so for nominal stability, K should be greater than 1, and for robust stability, K should be less than or equal to -1. It will contradict each other. Is it not? For nominal stability, K should be greater than 1. For robust stability, K should be less than or equal to -1. So they are contradictory. Which contradicts 2. 1. Which contradicts 1. So what's the conclusion? What's the conclusion? Can someone conclude? What is the question? Question is what? Where is the question? To determine the range of K so that closed system is stable for all perturbations. So what is the range of K? Tell me. Condition 1, what is the condition 1? K greater than 1. That is condition 1. Condition 2 is K less than or equal to -1. So what's the meaning? What's the conclusion? Come on, someone should conclude. Come on.
From -1 to 1, sir, it will be stable.
-1 to 1, what happens?
The system would be stable, sir.
Are you sure? See, for nominal stability, K should be greater than 1. Okay. For
Yes,
nominal
sir.
stability, K should be greater than 1. Right? Now, for robust stability, that's why you should understand clearly the difference between nominal stability and robust stability. Nominal stability means stability of the nominal plant. Okay. When you speak of robust stability, that includes both the nominal plant and the family of the perturbations, perturbed plants. That's what yesterday I told you. See, you have a plant here, P0, then P0 plus delta, P0 minus delta. This is the family of perturbed plants. So perturbed plants will include the nominal plant model. Is that okay? So
Yes.
when you speak of robust stability, you should also guarantee that the nominal plant is stable. Okay. So as per this solution, for nominal stability, K needs to be greater than 1. But for the remaining family of plants, K should be less than or equal to -1. So what's the meaning? What's the conclusion? Conclusion is that a simple pure gain K is not sufficient to ensure robust stability. Because these two are contradictory. K should be greater than 1 as per first condition, and here K should be less than or equal to -1. They are contradictory. Okay. K greater than 1 will ensure nominal plant to be stable. K less than or equal to 1 will ensure the other plants, the family of perturbed plants is stable. So they are which are contradictory. So any given K cannot ensure both the nominal stability as well as stability of the perturbed plants. Am I clear to all?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Could you understand what I said?
It's only for the method we discussed now.
Sorry. What did you say? Come again.
So this applies only for the method we discussed right now, sir.
Yes. That is why we are discussing the Small-Gain theorem. Okay. So in robust stability, mostly we are interested in LFT way of representation, which gives your it may be either a nominal plant, controller K and delta, 3-block configuration. This may be one thing. Okay. So equivalently, you can have the controller pulled to the nominal plant model and delta as a separate block. That's what we are seeing here.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So a simple pure gain is not sufficient to ensure robust stability. That's the conclusion. Okay. So we'll stop here. So how many of you had identified class projects? I have told you to search for some simulation projects, some case study. How many of you have done that? Why no one is answering? So next week onwards, we will begin that. Okay. Today itself, you must identify. You should sit, try some papers or some case examples like flight control or some examples are there. Boost control, buck converter control. Okay. And you have to identify that and put it in the WhatsApp group. So from next week onwards, we will start presentation. Okay.
Okay,
Okay,
sir.
Renu Bharati.
Okay, sir.
See, I told you in the beginning that this course we have to try. You have to try you for yourself. It is simulation-oriented, project-oriented course. Okay, it is mathematics too much intense actually. We cannot do all the things in the class. So certain things have to be learned by doing, right? So in the meantime, you just go to the MATLAB help files which I had sent you, that PDF files. Okay, we will discuss what are the issues you are facing or difficulties you are facing. We will take up in the class. Okay, in that way you can learn, you can master the subject. So first you search for some example. Okay, there are some what I should say. Okay, just hold for a second. Let me see if I can suggest some example. That's that book. Oh, I think that book is not here. So many papers are there. Okay, we will start with HFT controller. Next class, we will see what is HFT controller in a nutshell. Then you can start designing that. Say one example is a satellite attitude control. Okay, HFT control for satellite attitude control. Then one can be for a flight control. Okay, like that you will find a lot of examples in the literature. Just go through that. Pick one example which you feel suitable for your purpose. Okay, and you'll start discussing that in the class. So today itself, you start find one or two examples which you are comfortable with, and you post it in our WhatsApp group. Okay, without fail. So we'll stop here and meet again in the next week. Thank you.